Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening to all teachers, all principals, all parents. It's glad to see there's a lot of you been waiting at the waiting room. So our webinar will be starting in a couple of minutes. I can see that there's still a lot of people trying to join. So we will give a little bit of time for them to join the room, and then we will be starting very shortly. Thanks a lot for your patience. Good evening, everyone. I can see there's still quite a lot of teachers trying to join the session, so we will give them a little bit of time for them to join in, to tune in. So we will be starting very shortly in about 2-3 minutes. Thanks a lot for your patience. Thanks a lot for joining. I can see more and more teachers have started to join. So our webinar will be starting in 2 minutes. Thanks a lot for your patience. If you don't mind, feel free to make a very brief introduction about yourself. Share with us where you're coming from, which school you're coming from, so that we can know you better. Thanks a lot.
Should I start?
Yeah, we'll be starting in about 2 minutes.
We're just waiting for optimum number of people to be on. So should be there in less than a minute or so, because signing in takes a few minutes for people to join in, right? We give them 5 minutes.
So we'll be starting in about 1 minute. Thanks a lot for your patience. Okay, so let us begin the webinar. So first of all, as you can see here on the topic today that we are having, the topic of this webinar today will be enhancing cyber wellness, safeguarding the future generation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this webinar. So as you can see here on the top left corner, it says Holistic Health Transformation webinar series, which this is where the webinar series that we are currently having. So in today's webinar, we will be tackling into some critical topics related to cyber wellness. For example, the cyber wellness, cyber well-being, and digital responsibility, and so on. So our expert panel here will share a lot of valuable insights to equip all of us here for a safer digital world. So let us get started. So before we officially start, firstly, I would like to give an introduction to our esteemed speaker and moderator. Manoj, can you go to the next slide? So first of all, we have Dr. Ong Se-Hao, which is the main speaker of today's session. So he's a senior consultant and chief of the Child Guidance Clinic and Institute of Mental Health, IMH Singapore. And he's also a renowned child psychiatrist with extensive experience in child and adolescent psychiatry. And he's dedicated to research and advocacy in the field of child mental health and also cyber wellness. Now, coming up next, we have Mrs. Rivati, which is the principal of Air Force School Johari. So she's committed to create a student-centered learning environment for the school, and her leadership is really vital in shaping the future of the education. And upcoming next, we have Ms. Kamodi, who is the motivational speaker, and she will be offering a very unique perspective on motivating and inspiring all of us here today related to cyber wellness for our webinar. And upcoming next, we have Ms. Sapna. She's a parent and also a fitness trainer, and she'll be adding a lot of invaluable viewpoint on digital wellness for our children, advocating for a healthy lifestyle in today's digital age. Last but not least, we have Araf, which is a 16-year-old boy, class 12 student from Delhi School, who will provide a first-hand perspective on the challenges and opportunities of growing up in the digital era today. Now, in terms of guiding our conversation, in terms of the moderator here, we have Chandrakan Singh. We call him as CK, which is the managing director of LearnX. So his vision and passion of transforming the education and so on has actually driven LearnX to collaborate with a lot of parties, a lot of prestigious institutions to help shape the future of learning. Now, let us embark on this enlightening journey together as we delve into the crucial topic of cyber wellness. So over to you, CK.
Thanks, William. It's an exciting time zones we are all in. And what facilitates us is technology today, right? We've got people from Singapore, Delhi, Bangalore, US, Malaysia, and remote locations as well. But we've all enjoying the connectivity today, right? And what a diverse panel. I'm so excited, so proud to be part of this panel. So honored as well, being among all of you. But what we've tried to create today is the most diverse panel. You either get into an argument when you start off with this topic, right? It's a parent and a kid conversation is never going to be comfortable. You speak to a specialist, it's never going to be comfortable again because somebody is saying something and you have to probably transform your life. You speak to a parent, they would probably melt down in tears explaining what they go through. You speak to a child, he's been nagged forever. You speak to a principal, they will say, we don't allow this in our school. It's not existing. And you speak to a person like Kumudi from outside, she'll say, look, you guys got to come to a level, you all need to take a space from each other and give space to technology as well. So it's the most amazing panel today. Okay, we've got from a 16-year-old, the age I don't want to define, but I think more than 200 to 300 years of experience in this room. And it's going to be an exciting evening. I think this is a topic personally very close to us, all of us, I guess, all of us growing up. We've heard about addictions, which were just substance abuse to everything else. We never thought technology would be something that you would talk about addiction to, right? There's always going to be a kind of, which is the wrong side, which is the right side. Everybody has their own shoes to wear. So I'm going to start with Dr. Ong first because it's very early for him in the morning, 6 a.m. already, I guess. But he's joined us. So Dr. Ong, thank you first of all to be a center of this panel. You'll be getting a lot of arrows targeted sent to you during this as well while we try to share. But can you just tell us a little bit of brief in medical or in your own experience? Is there, first of all, something called addiction in cyber wellness, or is there something which we need to be worried about, or something around us? So just a base for us to all start having our conversation. What do you think about cyber wellness or cyber addiction? Why it is the need of the hour today?
Well, thank you for having me. Yes, you might notice that I'm in the hotel in New York right now. I'm attending an American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, and guess what? I have this fear of missing out. So I have you guys locked on my handphone and on my laptop as well. So I'm going to switch over to my laptop so that there's more consistency. Right. So just give me a moment there.
Yeah, you're perfect now. You're on it.
Hello,
Right.
hi. Right. Can you hear me loud and clear? Good.
Yeah.
So you see, technology makes us fear of missing out things, right? And even with the prior knowledge about cyber wellness and addiction. Thank you, CK, for that wonderful introduction. I'm a child psychiatrist based in Singapore. I'm just here in the States for a conference, and there was quite plenty of topics authored on the issue about cyber wellness, effects of social media, etc., on mental health in young people. So I'm so excited to share with you. Now, I've been in practice in child psychiatry for slightly over 20 years in Singapore, and now it is so tempting to label someone to have addiction or cyber addiction. But in my practice, I do find that there's actually other conditions that's underlying that. And pure addictions may not be as common, in my practice, but we do see excessive video gaming, excessive social media use, and that's because with a background of a mental health condition, autism disorders. It's so important to really assess that and provide the necessary intervention treatment with about addiction, right? Yeah, nobody really likes to be labeled. I'm an addict, right? I don't think our audience here would like to be called that name. And parents are all too quick to call them well his or her
Dr.
family
Can you,
environment, relationship
Dr.
with caregivers, as well as how they are experiencing stress in the schools as well.
I think there is a lag in your video, so I think you were very well on the phone. So probably you switch back while I explain what you said to the team, because there's a little bit lag on your video. I think it's working fine now, but let's test it out again. So there's a very thin line when you say excessive use.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a very thin line between when you say addiction, excessive use, or people gaming and stuff, right? So, but we probably understand extremes, right? Either we say it's addiction, or we just say, whether it exists in any other format, we don't know. We don't know the line drawn to be what is the actual definition. If somebody has to say that you become addict, do you have that kind of a definition that when do you categorize someone to be an addict, so that the audience here at least understand that they're very careful in using that word as an addiction, right? So how do you say that a child has got addicted to a device, and where do we believe it's an addiction? So do you have any definition around it? It will be good for us to understand that.
Right. Thank you, CK. Right. I think you're very right to point out, where do you draw the line? So between a child who is using a lot of internet or gaming versus someone who's really addicted. So in psychiatry, there's no really one good way, but we have drawn on other experiences, like from gambling addictions or substance use addictions, we use that kind of benchmark to sort of like to help define whether someone has a gaming addiction or not. Right. So usually, for example, there is some hallmark features, like for example, a maladaptive pattern of use. It could be excessive and is impacting on family relationships, affecting academic performance as well. And the the manual we go to is the DSM-5, which is like the Bible of child psychiatry, right? Yeah. So typically there will be a fixation or preoccupation about gaming, and if you don't game, the teenager may or young adult may suffer from withdrawal symptoms. They feel restless, edgy, and so on. And there also could be tolerance when the kid would want more and more of that, and 1 hour is no longer enough. He goes up to 2 hours, and then 3 hours, 4 hours, and so on and so forth. There might be some awareness that gaming is affecting them, so they may have tried to stop gaming, but often it has been unsuccessful. And despite the negative consequences about negative impact on academic performance and impact on the relationships with their parents, there's still excessive, the child still engages in excessive gaming. And he or she may lose interest in other things, social outings, social gatherings, and go on to lie or steal some money or whatever to buy items to feed their addiction, right?
Yeah.
And definitely causes impairment in the social aspect and the academic aspect. So that would be the criteria that we use right now, right? So, but if the child is doing well despite some excessive gaming and is getting along well with family members, keeping up with the academic work, then it would not qualify as a disorder, right? So the impairment criteria, the functional impairment in various aspects of life, is a very important criteria here.
Got it. So I think the first takeaway, okay, stop calling it addiction, okay, unless you've qualified to call it an addiction, because that itself gives you the stigma and the pressure on parents itself that my child is addicted, and I hear it very casually, but to understand addiction, it's like someone into we understand substance abuse or a drug abuse much more as an addiction. So if that is the situation your child has reached up to, is the only level that you should start. But of course, there are cases which is leading up to, so you need to prevent our risk. So I'm going to go to the core of the issue here, where not the issue, I would say the topic that we brought up. Arav, I'm going to ask you a question. I know the denial mostly is that we don't have addiction in our community, right? But what is your perspective of, do you feel that in your age, in your community today, there is addiction of devices, or is it just so it's a straight away no? Okay, could you explain more why do you feel that perception happens, and what's your take on this?
It's not an addiction. Like, we need it in our daily lives. Like, the school gives us the study material, everything is on our phone, so we need it. And like, we have a feeling of being left out. If our friend has a phone and we don't, then it's like we need it.
And do you think what Dr. Ong said, that if it is a part of you, as long as it's enabling you, but if it's going to take you away from other relationship lives, do you think it's an addiction? Do you think it's something?
Yeah, then it's another level of addiction.
All right. Okay, got it. Thanks, Arav. So they feel if they don't do it, and if they don't use it, they feel completely out of space or not in touch with their lives, right? So I'm going to switch to a parent first, and then the school. Okay, so a parent first. Sapna, you've been parent to two wonderful daughters, right? One has successfully already placed herself in a career. Maybe you did think about device addiction then. As a parent, I do believe I use device a lot. I feel I am also addicted to a device at times. But as a parent, do you feel your kids have excessive uses, or you think it's addiction, or you think how do you perceive your kids today as?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, definitely, CK. I'll come to that. That thin line that you spoke right now about the addiction. It's a big word, right? Maybe a child doesn't like to be called that he's addicted to a device or whatever. So at times, as a parent, we are also confused when you see your child for long hours on a device. You feel, is it addiction? When you ask them to be off the device. So then I think, like Araf said, there is a lot of study material that they have on the device. Then how, as a parent, we're not able to actually see if they're studying or if they're actually using social media or other apps there. So again, I would say as a parent, I myself am confused at this question, but like with my elder child, who's already into her career, I see a lot of difference between then and this. So that it's a 6-year age gap between both my daughters, At her time, I think they were still little okay, but with this, within the 6-year gap, I can see that usage has increased. So that is what I'm feeling,
Completely agree with you. I think you experienced both the 3 different generations, right? We've watched people who are still uncomfortable to use devices. You watch your first kid growing up and successful in life with a limited use of device, limited use of connectivity and stuff. And you have another kid which is now over dependent on a device to be where they are, right? So I think that summarizes a parent's view that they are still confused whether it's an addiction or not, whether the kid is in an environment. So I'm going to switch over to the authorities here. Okay, I'm going to go to the school. Revati ma'am, you and I have been always talking about this for a while now, like 3 months before we started on cyber wellness. I said this is some topic that we need to bring it to on an open space where everybody can have a very a third party view as well, a view from another eye altogether, right? But as much as we understand, school does not allow devices. You don't allow any device to come to the school. And so why is school, still thinks that device is something there, it is an addiction, and why are you, what policies you're putting in place to control it or to match? Do you think still kids sneak in a device? But it's not a school's problem, right? Because you've completely said it's like smoking not allowed, right? So it's like device not allowed. So when you have device not allowed, why still think cyber wellness is important at your level, at your school level, and why it is important to communicate to parents and stuff? So your view on this, please.
So first, good evening, everyone. And first of all, I would like to thank Learnex for having me over. And especially at a point in time where in India, we are celebrating the National Cyber Awareness Month. October is the National Cyber Awareness Month. And while we say it's a big no to digital devices at the school, but we also need to cater to the fact that we are dealing with 2 generations of people. One are the digital natives, which are the children of today, and we are the digital immigrants. So definitely we have to bridge that gap. And the pace at which technology is moving, I think we need to create the awareness amongst children, and that is going to bring about the wellness also. So unless we teach children, both at school as well as at home, what is the limitation or what is the level to which, as Dr. Ong said very rightly, we need to define that the number of hours, the level to which we have to use. And I also would agree with Arav, where he said that he doesn't want to be left behind. Yes, it is a world where we are growing with artificial intelligence. We are talking about ChatGPT and everything. And it is, we have to bridge this gap between the immigrants and the natives. And we seek, wellness and well-being for all of them. While sometimes overuse of these devices or technology I think even as, elders, and I think I would be probably the oldest in this group, the generation that you're looking at. And somewhere I think down the line, even I look into my phone, I have to receive the message, I have to reply to it. So, it is the need of the hour. But at the same time, we need to draw a line. And as one of the parents said, we need to define what is that line, between addiction and proper usage. So I will define it as, how you use a device rather than abuse a device, or you use technology rather than abusing technology. So that is my take as a leader, and this is what I would like to give to my children. I need to create more awareness amongst children, and more awareness amongst parents also. We need to create that awareness, and we have to tell them, set realistic goals for your children.
Absolutely. I think it's the community has to collaborate to close,
collaboration is very important. I have my children for 8 hours in the school. Beyond 8 hours, what happens? That I think the parents also, and they need to collaborate with the school to say, if you're sending this, what is the time frame with which my child has to use this, and maybe prepare his homework or send his
absolutely got it. So with that, I will come to the community kind of a feeling that I feel that we need inspiration, right? We need Kumudi to put in a word to all of us one by one, saying, hey, all of you step back. This is not a problem yet. This is not a addiction yet. The world is not falling apart. So Kumudi, if you see it, you're a parent as well. You brought up kids in very different environments altogether, where technology situations change. So if you had to communicate as an audience, you see there's a kid there, there's a doctor there, there's a principal, and there's a parent there. What would you say to them that, in your own words, how would you think? Is that something we only need really be panicked about, or not yet? So I leave it to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Nice to hear all of you. I'm just putting my point of view. Maybe I can be wrong also. So first of all, you asked Dr. Ong about the addiction. I say one simple line. What is addiction? I'll give you the definition. The device, if you can do without for few days, I say 4-5 days, it is not an addiction. And if you cannot stay without it, it is an addiction. And suppose I will not say that addiction is an adverse term. No. See, suppose you have got a problem. Understanding is a big thing, whether it's depression, whether it's addiction. So don't avoid it. You can solve the problem by understanding the problem only. So don't avoid it. And Arav, yes, I do agree with you that yes, sometimes you have got projects, assignments on mobile phone, which you have to use the mobile phone. But one point I don't agree with you is that other kids have got mobile phones, so have to also have a mobile phone. This is no reason to have a mobile phone just because your friend is having it. You have to complete the assignment project. I can do understand that. Just because somebody is wearing a better dress than me doesn't mean that I also have to have a dress. So I don't agree with you. Comparison with a kid. So sometimes your parents will also start comparing kids. That kid has got this, that kid has got better marks, so you should also have it. Now both of you have got mobile phones, this and that. So comparison in any way, whether it's a mobile phone, whether it's marks, somebody is not doing good, bad, is wrong. You want to have a mobile phone because you need it, not because the other person has got it. Maybe I can be harsh also, I can be wrong also, sorry Arav, but justifying just because my friend has it, I don't agree with it.
I would want you to also put attention on Sapna, who's a parent. So
Revti ma'am rightly said yes, in school you have to give project assignment. I can suggest only one thing. See, I may be wrong also. Obviously, she's absolutely right. You have to give assignment after 8 hours. What kids do, you don't know. But see, these days, the assignment projects which are given in the school, suppose they gave it, kids have stopped using their brains. They just go to the Google, take it from 3-4 places, compile it and give it and submit in so their addiction starts coming because they have to open the mobile phone, laptop or whatever device for 1 or 2 hours. But they keep on opening for 4-5 hours and they don't leave it. Besides schoolwork, they will tell their parents that we are doing our schoolwork, and they are chatting with their friends, what you have done, this, that, let's share it. So just 2 hours work goes for 8 hours, and their parents are thinking that they are doing assignment projects.
Kumati, I would like to interrupt you a little bit here. the thing is that, yes, this thing of giving something online was not happening 2 years before.
Yes, yes.
This is a very recent trend. And we have also added the technology part of it as it is growing, right? So whenever we say that we want children to use technology and, get an idea, there is a lot of reading material there out in the, on the internet. So when we say these things, we as an educator and as a principal, I would always expect that the children, limit their time of usage there.
I completely, I think
totally agree. I'm talking about parents. So parents should see.
Parents, this is why I told you, parents also need awareness. This is
awareness. They think they are giving space and privacy to their kids.
Yeah.
What should they do is, see, suppose if a project requires, suppose they require 2 hours, so let them see quality matters, not the quantity. They should see, sometimes they think that we are giving space and privacy. If there's a family of 3 or 4, everybody is sitting in a separate room. Earlier they used to sit with TV, now with a mobile phone, everybody requires a separate room. Why? If you're doing a project, you can sit together, you can discuss with your parents. Sometimes my kids also, they are doing suppose writing an essay also, which is a very basic thing. Why do you require Google on it? Use your mind. Maybe you will not get 10 out of 10.
I'll stop the topic in a way, just to go back to the kid here. Okay. So Arav, if I have to ask you that you get a school homework, and then I'll come to Dr. Young on this. Okay. So I want Arav to, so it's something that you do on a day-to-day basis, right? You go on.
Yeah.
And is it that you have a virtual library again available to you, right? I know everyone is worried about you, it's your health, but you would yourself have certain self-discipline around it, right? Do you have a self-discipline around it, and how do you your own people around you engage on it? So what is your view on it?
I don't have a self-discipline. My mom has it. She puts restrictions on it, so I just follow her.
Honest answer.
Yeah, it's a very honest answer. So but do you think when everybody is saying that you have a phone which gives you, let's say there was a time we used to go to library for information, right? There was a library where the content was available in only that format to do research. Do you think internet is your library today? Is that something? Yeah. And so if you're given a task, you go to research on internet. Is there something that you think it is your basic right to be on there and learn from it?
Yeah.
So that's a good answer for you. So Dr. Ang, here's I come back to you. Okay, you heard parent, teacher, a motivational person telling you that, look, addiction is when you can't stay without a device for 5 days or a month. Like people go to Vipassanas in India, where they stay away from probably everything in the world to declare that, hey, I'm not addicted to anything in this world. And so I'm doing detox. I just heard Revati ma'am talk about it before we started, was digital fasting. Fasting is where you are not eating, not drinking, something like that. And there was a period where, what do you call that? What is it, a Japanese term? 18 hours of no food and stuff, and then you have healthy diet. So
something
do you
like
think
intermittent fasting?
Intermediate fasting, like better word of using it. So do you think there should be intermediate fasting, or what is the first ways a kid himself should self-discipline, a parent should discipline, a school should discipline, or the society should put it? What is your recommendation here?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I've switched to the handphone because it's easier and more stable internet. Now, I think thanks. I could see that debate going on there, and sometimes there are no right and wrong answers, but parents are indeed very exasperated when the kids use too much handphone. In the ideal world, I would definitely like everyone, the school, the parents, and the kid to go through some what do you call it, digital literacy, right? Yeah, whereby someone you can teach kids how to organize his schedule so that he has a good spread of activities and not just handheld devices or internet gaming, things like that. So it's important to have that conversation really early, when the child is growing up, and to instill that kind of discipline. And like, all right, when you're home, you should have a structured activities. How are you going to divide the hours up to do certain things to get your work done, things like that. So it reminds me when I was a kid, and my parents were very mindful about me watching TV. And the TV was like an enemy of sort, right? Or even Coca-Cola was an enemy because it was so sweet and it's not good for our teeth. And parents are like so worried about it. And now it's part of our life. TV is not much or no problem. And we have Diet Coke right now. Not a problem. So I think the handphone, gaming, internet is also like it's something that we'll probably get accustomed to. We assimilate that in our daily life, and if we can have good common sense, applied to how we use the phone, handphone, or the internet, I think we're going to be okay. And it's true that to respond to Ms. Komodi's comment, yes, I have kids admitted to my inpatient health psychiatric unit with the label of addiction. But when we give them activities to do in the unit, they don't think about the handphone games. So a lot of it, what's lacking is there's a lack of other structured activities that the kid could be assessing to. That's very important. And also just simple rules to make sure that there's governing internet use at home as well. So when there's structured activities, alternative activities in place, there's also house rules, and people around to talk to. Usually the kid may not spend too much time on the handphone. Yeah, so you need those basic elements, first, and also good digital literacy, like what about safety practices, how much is too much, how do you monitor your internet use or gaming. I think those are things that parent and child and even schools should have that kind of conversation before you let the students or kids have access to that. And I think right?
No, go ahead, complete, please complete.
Okay, yeah, so it's never too late. So parents, you should sit down, with your child and just have a good conversation about the do's and don'ts, and what are the positive things about gaming or internet, and also the negative consequences as well. So to have that kind of talking it through and reasoning, helping the kid understand why parents are worried about them, I think you'll help them to gain some perspective into the adults' world. And it's important also for the parents and teachers to look out for the feelings of sadness, or if the kid is feeling depressed or anxious, or feeling alone, or having low self-esteem. Those are things that through the interaction and conversation with kid, you will be able to pick out, and then it may raise a red flag, and then you should have that conversation again with the kid about what he or she is facing at home and in school as well. Thank you.
Thanks. I think, Dr. Ang, and I start with what Komodi said. I think that there's a point where parents themselves have chosen convenience at times, right? They're not doing the essay writing together. Let's understand that the parents themselves have taken, when they go for shopping, they would give the device to the kid, right? We ourselves start the addiction for our own convenience at times. And when Kumudi said that there are certain things that the parent should get involved, allow them, disallow them, look at it, but should be able to work together and be able to monitor and manage better way. And the other part, which Dr. Ong, you said, I really feel there is a complete lack of awareness. What is good and what is bad, we probably ourselves have been thrown with a lot of technology, and we don't know whether this is good or bad. And rightly said, television was an addiction at time. I felt I was television addict, right? I could just watch MTV with so much of flashing stuff going on. But there's something we need to learn from these technology. and probably bring it to the education system. I'm going to come to Revati ma'am on this, okay? And what Kumudi also said around it. The only system that has not changed transformationally is education system. And why I'm saying it is that everything that we do in our home, from our locks to our beds to everything, has changed. You have digital locks, you have this, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at the school structure of imparting knowledge, it's the same way my grandfather probably went to college with. He would have a teacher, he would have our books, and he would probably study from those books, and the benches would be arranged in the same way. The benches probably have not been transformed as well to become a comfortable bench or not, whatever it is. So the only place where I have not seen a real generation of change would be the education system. But if you look at the way the technology firms, from Instagram to Meta to everyone, their lawsuits been filed against them, they have made it so good, so attractive, so the kids can stay for 8 hours on their platform. Why can't they stay in school for 8 hours? So why can't we put that learning of a technology company, bring it to education system in such a way that you are able to, get the kids' attention for 4 hours or 5. Kids can't even put attention for more than 3 minutes, because that's how, but they can stay on a game. And there's another thing, one of my friend, I met Priya a few days back, she mentioned this to me. She said, the way these gaming institutions are working around is that if you fail in a game, you don't fail actually. You fight to come back, become better, and then you are always starting again from level 1, but you will go all the way again to but in a school, if you fail, it's actually like a fail, and you are branded as a failure, and you come home, but you're not fighting back. So, ma'am, from you first, and then I'll switch around again to all of you. Do you think the education system itself needs a complete transformation so that devices become a part of coexistence rather than an alien from outside where we feel it's a fear or something like that? Okay.
There are a couple of things here. First of all, the content may not have changed over the years, but yes, over the last 2 or 3 years, we have tried to change the way in which we are delivering or imparting the education. Definitely, there are smart boards in the school. Teachers would like to show videos. They would try to use gaming methods, storytelling methods, art integration. So all this, thanks to our national education policy, which is trying to make a revamp in the education. And CK, I would also like to correct, when you say that a child is failing in school, my term for FAIL is first attempt in learning. It's okay if you fail. So we need to teach the children resilience. If they fail, it's okay. They can always, redo it. They can always come back. They can always reattempt. And that is why I think CBSE and other boards are looking at multiple times they can write the examination. And in any school system, when we try and, till 8th standard, we cannot detain any child in any class as per the rules.
That's the new policy, which makes
That's the new policy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But at the same time, as you said, what is it that the children take away from the school? Why is it that we are not making it as attractive as it would be in a YouTube video or, anything else, or maybe these coaching classes, which they show it to you? The thing is, somewhere in our teachers' mindset, we also try to change, but the completion of syllabus, we need to cover it up. We need to teach them in the same method. That is somewhere there in our system. And to change the mindset, it takes some time. It's only now that in the last 2 years that we tried to change the education system. But, to completely revamp it, it is going to take some more time.
Got it.
And definitely, the next generation, you're going to see there will be a lot of changes. And yeah.
Okay.
So that's
Got it. Thank you, ma'am, for the point. I'm going to go to Sapna once here. And I'll just be mindful, in few minutes, we'll have all questions coming up. A lot of people have already posted a lot of questions. Hundreds of questions are there. I'm going to start asking you those questions to respond one by one across. And you can also ask questions to Dr. Ong from your own point of view, if you want him to answer a few things. Sapna, as a parent, okay, do you think what Dr. Ong said, or even Kumodu said here, that there is need to be more involvement? There is more participation needed. The family should sit together, not just let them be on a device in their room or whatever it is, and that they are not. How do you think you would want to do it in your home, or how do you do it today to just manage that reality in it?
Okay, so yeah, like Dr. Ong said, that involvement of the parent when the child is using, in this digital world. So, what I feel is first, as a parent, there is a lot of lack of education in the digital world.
Digital world.
Yeah. As parent, we have to first educate ourselves. I feel, again, and then educate our kids, honestly, like my child, she's already 17. Okay, so it's okay now, she understands. But I would say for younger children now who are getting into this thing, they have
usage
to
now,
educate on the how to use it, privacy issues, not uploading pictures, and so many things that they have to take care of. That education is needed, right? Then I would say limit their screen time. As a parent, I try to do that, limiting the screen time for my child. Like I said, now they're grown up, so making them do that now is a little challenge, but initially we've done that. So that is one thing. Then I think there are many ways, where as a parent, we can sit, communicate, have open talks, see if the child is, there is a lot of cyberbullying also. So
yeah, I was going to come to that pretty soon on that. Yeah.
So you can have open talks with your child about any problem, anything where, so it is when you have this open talk, then it's your child who's supposed to come to you and tell you that you have to create that environment, that comfortable environment where your child wants to come and talk to you, that okay, this is the problem I'm facing.
Got it.
And then many other things like that. So as a parent, you can ensure that your child is safe, and that is what I'd say.
I think I really understand the parent side of it, right? I am myself a parent, and I feel that the world sometimes becomes one side. I'm going to go to Kumudi first and then to Dr. Yan. Kumudi, you speak to a lot of people and you go to a lot of forums, right? You go talk about what positivity is all about, right? I know we've had a lot of cyber wellness to cyber addictions are two different terms defining probably the coin, right? One side you have addiction, the other side is wellness. When you go and speak to people about positivity in situations in life, with a situation which we are in let's say the parent and the kid, what is your word around it to communicate to a kid and to a parent in very simple words, because we're going to jump into questions, but I want to hear from you that what would you communicate to a parent and a kid in a forum like this where it's a coin? Yes, use technology, don't get addicted. And so what's your take on it? How do you communicate that?
I would say that nobody is perfect, neither parents nor the kid. So parents should, when parents and kids or family sitting together, grandparents, you should not judge each other. Accept eachbody with their faults plus positive plus minus points, and motivate them, support them. See, nobody is perfect. If a parent, we can also get addicted to mobile phone or devices. But see, families, what bonding time. If we are sitting for dinner, at least everybody should sit together for dinner. Somebody with mobile phone, this and that, parent can also be there, but always take the criticism in a positive way. Sometimes, the children have got this tendency. See, parents doesn't understand me, they listen to me, they'll go in a separate room and start doing mobile. See, sometimes criticism should, whether, they always think this kids have also tendency to think that my parents, they don't understand me, they will judge me. See, every time you should not judge. Suppose a kid is doing something wrong also, you should not judge him or her. And kid should also not judge his parents, because it is but natural. We are after human beings, and I totally agree with Revati ma'am also that you told that why can't classrooms can be so interesting like those gaming sessions, or see, there are 2 lakh 2 crores of games on the internet. our kids like all the games? No, they choose 2, 3, 3, 4 like Angry Birds, this and that. But in class, the teacher has to complete the full syllabus. How can you make Munshi Premchand's or Mahadevi Verma's lesson like in Cartoon Network story kind? They have to be serious in that session. Not every session can be like, no, sometimes
But
kids also
Kumudi,
should understand.
as educator, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but as educators, we try doing, a role play. We say someone dresses up as Premchand.
I think that's become a part of enabling each other.
Yes, and smart classes have introduced, not for each and every chapter. You cannot introduce, make it fun and interesting. They have to cover the syllabus. Moreover, what they will ask in board exams, suppose a kid flunks in a board exam, they will say, teachers will say, you have asked us to make the chapter more interesting and enacting. You cannot enact each and every chapter. See,
so it has to be a balance of what you can achieve.
A kid is getting bored, and what is I'm telling about my personal experience. Suppose we are sitting and we are watching a television. As a parent, as a kid, listen, it is very important to understand. Suppose 4 in a family are sitting or 6 in a family is sitting. Somebody wants to watch TV. The other 3 are getting bored. But they should not get up and just go away from the room, because one by one, each person will get the chance, and you should know how to get bored in life.
I think it's
not everybody is there to entertain and please everybody.
It's well said. Well said.
If a family member, if I have to appease my kids or my husband, then you cannot survive in a household. Then difference is bound to occur, and then this addiction of mobile phone or whatever you say. See, addiction, it is you cannot say that what measures you cannot take any measures. It has to come from within. From within, if my kid is addicted to mobile phone or anything, if my kid will not understand that, yes, I have got this addiction, he or she cannot leave that addiction. I cannot keep on standing or sitting with him or her for 24 hours to see how many hours he or she is doing it. There has to be trust. There has to be trust between the two people, and you should learn how to get bored. Learn how to get bored. Whether you're sitting with your grandparents, you're going to somebody's house, mobile phone should not be there in each and every person. Suppose I'm carrying a mobile phone, my husband is carrying my mobile phone, my kids not carry their mobile phone, they will leave it in the house. Because when you're going to somebody's house for 1 hour, this means if any important call will come, they will call us on our mobile phone. We will give them the phone and they will talk, and keep in 5 minutes we are somewhere out, we will talk to them outside. But they go outside, they say, no, mummy, papa talking to these people, we are getting bored, they will out and stand there. So you should learn how to get bored.
So I'll cut you off here, Kumudi, just to...
in the household, this is my lesson for kids and the parents, learn how to get bored. Sometimes kid is watching something, the parents should get bored and sit with them and watch whatever they are watching, and kids. And not judge.
That is a very, very valid point.
And if the content is there is some scene also, don't say, oh, you have put this, then kid will shy away from putting. Suppose a scene has also come, you can fast forward it, you can make them understand, put it in a normal way. Not always judge. The kid has put this thing, so he watches bad things, so we will not allow him to. No, never this child lock system, we will put it for 3 hours. No, give them access for 24 hours of net, then see how much time they are using it. Then they will be able to control.
Normally, I'll jump to Arav on this. Arav, since I hope you're not feeling targeted, right?
No, I'm not targeting anyone.
No, I'm just trying to make it come. So, Arav, I'm going to come to a very serious topic now, okay? And serious topic, what I mean is, of course, we all know good, bad, and stuff that happens on the internet. Do you, at your age, around you in your own community, do you talk about cyberbullying? Do you understand what it is? And so what's your view on, do people understand it?
Yeah. Like we talk about it, but like it's not mentioned on a daily basis. Like it happens, we know that, but we're not open about it in that way.
But it is something that is impacting your community. Like, do you hear your friend, someone who's been bullied online, and so what is your first stage of reacting to it? How do you go and handle it?
I don't handle it.
Okay, if you are given a situation, let me try to flip the question in a way. Imagine your best friend, okay? He just comes to you and he's just been bullied by someone online, okay? Mm-hmm. And he shares with you. Of course, he will not probably go and share with the parents first, right? Mm-hmm. 99% of it is more of a peer-to-peer share. If he comes to share, you can't say, I won't help you, right? What is your
Yes.
first reaction? How would you handle it? How would you talk about it?
I would like first to understand the situation, how it started, and like what what are they bullying him on, and then if I understand it correctly, then I'll also help him.
Okay, and if do you think at some stage you would need some help, right? And you would approach your parent, right? Is that correct? In your mindset, yes? Or you still will try to solve it within yourselves?
Within myself, if it doesn't get solved, then I'll ask my parents.
Brilliant. Okay. Dr. Ong, this is something that we all experience. Thanks, Ara, for that honest reply as usual. The challenge that we face in cyberbullying, okay, and it's only when we realize about cyberbullying is when it's reached the extreme. Somebody's taken some steps, right? And how serious is this? How serious is this issue? And how does the psychiatry or the mental health institutions like yours see it today? And what is your take on it as of now?
Right. Thanks for bringing this very important topic. Yeah. And I did a study about 5 years, slightly more than 5 years ago, in secondary school kids aged 13 to 17. As much as 13.8% of students report being, subjected to victimization online. All right. And some of them even became bullies themselves. We call them cyber victim bullies. So no matter what it is, bullying is a perpetual use of harsh, demeaning words, and for online. There's no physical violence, of course, but it's a lot of verbal aggression. You may put down your peers, make fun of them, tease them. You might say something that destroy their reputation, and also hurt their self-esteem. So, and the worst thing about cyberbullying is that it can go viral pretty fast, right? Yeah, and the victim often has no control over it. So it's a very real problem, and you have heard of stories about young people, resorting to suicide, because they couldn't deal with the persistent cyberbullying. I think that has certainly got us sit up and pay attention to this very important problem. Yeah,
absolutely.
So I think the important thing is some cyberbullying can be very subtle, but if it's persistent.
I think we lost your audio, Dr. Fung. You can just unmute here. If you just unmute here. William, can you unmute? Yeah. Still, your video is lagged. So switch off the video, please, Dr. Ong. Then you'll be okay.
About it. All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Someone.
You're good. You're good. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, talk to a trusted adult about it. Don't keep it to yourself. And sometimes you can keep a trail of records, about the cyberbullying. In the WhatsApp or short messages, you can keep track of that and use that as evidence that this has been going on, right? And let the school handle it, or your parents to help you with it. I think that's the most helpful. And in the most severe cases of cyberbullying, sometimes even police reports have to be made as a result.
Perfect. I think, Sapna, go ahead, please.
Yeah, but before that, I would like to know, what are the signs or behaviors where you feel that your child is cyberbullied, and how do we, kind of navigate it later? So, meaning the parent has to have some,
So Dr. Ang, what Sapna is saying is that, are you able to hear us, Dr. Ang? I think it's... Okay, let's, William, you figure out to get Dr. Ang back. I think I would just reiterate what Dr. Ang said.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay, you can, right. Okay, so Dr. Ang, the point Sapna is asking, how do we know at what stage, your kid is being bullied, or is there any signs to look for if the kid is being targeted somewhat? Is there any signs that we can look at? Yeah.
Yes, thanks for the question. Definitely, a child may become more withdrawn and quiet, maybe a little bit more moody or tearful. And you might see them starting to refuse to go to school, or school refusal or avoidance, right? So those are some of the very early signs that you may be able to see in a kid. And if it happens, for more than a day, that means something is really going on, right? Yeah. The other disturbances you might see is they're not eating so well, or they have problems sleeping, and they may not be keeping up with their schoolwork. So I would suggest that speak to the school teachers, who may give you a bit more information. And some cyberbullying is is only within the peer group, and even teachers don't know about it. But then once the caregivers and teachers, educators pay attention to the kid is usually able to share what's going on, and that can lead to concrete actions that can be taken by the parents, and also by the school authorities as well.
Okay.
So Sapna, there's the one unusual behavior, right? Things changing, there's life changing, and it's changing consistently for a longer period of time, rather than just a small period that you see a moody swing and stuff. And Arav, you heard what Dr. An said, right? That there are 3 different levels or stages. You should recommend your peer as well. That first, don't try to solve it all by yourself. Okay, discuss, of course, share, but always the way forward is that when the bullying hits a place where it's no more fun, okay, we all should know this, that when fun is no more fun, you hit the limit for anyone, and you cannot know what is the limit of resistance one can have for another person's bullying, right? So we should be in a position to either go and communicate to our parent, or take a school, or the community should talk together to find a way of how to solve this. And because it goes viral very fast, right? Somebody has been caught doing something, somebody's made a film, somebody does something, it goes viral very fast. So you've got to protect each other in a way. Okay. The other thing, Dr. Ong, I really feel we as parents, we are the most nervous ones in the world, probably, I would say. We're all so protective about our kids. There is always that stigma about, us worried about our kids being, targeted, or being, what are the basic hygienes that are, as a definition, should exist today in terms of cyber wellness that one should protect ourselves with?
Thanks, CK. Earlier on I talked about digital literacy. It's about learning, all about the digital world. You don't have to be an expert, right? Yeah, but you need to know what the child is being exposed to, and that what can come along. They could be targeted and cyberbullying, or some of them could even be exploitation and of young people. There could be predators online, trying to trick the young person into doing things they do not want to do. So I think it's very important to have that early conversation with your child before you let them have access to the internet, digital cyberspace, right? So a lot of parents, unfortunately, do not have that time, to have that conversation. And by the time they realize there was a problem, it might be too late. So it's always definitely good to that before you hand that phone, the full phone, to Araf, for example. You say, Araf, let's sit down and let's talk. Right? Yeah, and not just leave things to his own devices and get him to figure out things. And he probably will learn a lot of wrong things from the friends, right? So I think it's always good to have that conversation, and technology is a good thing. It's just how we use it and or abuse it that makes it a problem, right? Yeah. So that's why there must be some rules to limit its use to help us to be more effective in doing our work, in doing our job, in doing our studies, right? Use that to our advantage. Let us rule over technology and not let technology rule over us, such that we lose sight of ourselves. That's my important message.
I think you've rightly said, and everyone in the group, probably for the first time, I felt is right. Nobody is wrong in this group. And what Kovati says, look at the positive, not judge situations, don't judge people around her. I'm going to start taking some questions online. I've got massive list of questions to cover. But Revati ma'am, you had a very typical question that you wanted to ask Dr. Ang about something, right? Please go ahead and ask. And Arav, you be ready with your next question. And then I'm going to put some online questions coming to Kamudi, Sapna, and rest of the team as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Dr. Ang, once again, good evening. I had a session with parents very recently to just create that cyber awareness amongst parents in the school. And many parents had this thing that they're not able to actually track where exactly the children are, which sites, where they are moving. And, many a time they are on Instagram and other things in the incognito mode. So we are not able to basically trace. Sometimes this history is deleted. So even if the children are in trouble, they found that they're not able to trace it back. So in such a case, what should the parents do?
Yeah, Dr. Ang, I think there's a lag, so he'll definitely come back. Hold on. Doctor, you're on mute as of now. So did you get the question, Dr. Yang? Sorry.
Hi. I think there's some. Yeah, I heard some bits of it because there was a lag in the Zoom. I heard that from Mrs. Ravati is that it's difficult for parents to track their kids' online activities. Am I right? Yeah, and what can parents do with it? I think to what Ms. Komodi talked about is in honest trust. I think there has to be some base trust, and I think it's important before you want your kids to trust you, you must also be able to show some trust, that you give them that kind of trust, that kind of space. And it's when adult modeling comes in. It's so important to model positive behavior, right? So when adults say, okay, everyone sits on the table for dinner, so adults shouldn't have access to handphone too. Everyone do talk the talk, walk the talk. And if the child sees the parents using the reading emails at the dinner table, they will think that, well, all this is just fluff. I wouldn't want to. There's no need for me to follow the house rules because the parents are not following the house rules. So I think it's very important to have that adult modeling, modeling good behavior, positive behavior, and then this is how the trust get built. The teenagers can then trust the adults that they mean what they say. All right, and then just start doing the talk. They walk the walk as well. I think it's in Singapore. We recently developed a parent toolkit to recommend what is some hours that a child should spend online. It's just a guideline, right? Yeah. It's not that you need to stick to it. So the younger the child is, the child should have less screen time. So if you're in preschool, it should be less than 1 hour, and if you're online, you should have supervised kind of and joint viewing of the materials, and the online materials should be info, entertainment, and educational in nature. Once they go to school, you can give them up to 2 hours so that they can have some time to relax and all that. So when I say 2 hours, I'm talking about non-essential tasks like catching up with friends, watching YouTube, be on social media. Because online activities for research work, for school work, we don't count that in. Those would be under essential time. So a child, a young person should have about 2 hours, of time to do their own things, right? Yeah. So this is some guidelines that parents can follow. And I think I don't think a teenager will appreciate a parent for going through the handphone. I think that's often a breach of trust, right? Yeah, unless it's previously agreed upon, right? Some parents may say that, is it okay? I'm going to check on their screen time once a week to make sure they're doing okay. You need to have that conversation and first so that the child is aware and you follow through with it. Don't do it when you haven't had that conversation or agreement with the child. There are some software available that helps you to track the screen time the child uses on a handphone. So I think most phones would have that software. And there are some apps that you could also purchase as well that actually, would screen out some of the more dubious and, unsavory kind of websites or things, and if the child posts any images that could be too sexy or too using certain words, choice
Very
words that
inappropriate.
then the software will actually inappropriate words. The software could actually alert the parents, right? Yeah, but you need to have that conversation first as well with the teenager that I'm going to have this software installed. All right, this is to help me monitor your usage and access to unsavory sites, but I'm not going to just barge in and unless there's any red flags or alerts being raised. So you got to have that conversation, and you got to have that mutual trust as well. I think it's a very delicate line that you told, but I think we need to really have that dialogue with them from the very, very beginning and have that mutual understanding. Thank you.
I think very, very rightly pointed that policing is not undercover policing. Okay, or undercover policing is a complete breach of trust, and starts.
You would have 80% of Indian parents doing that.
Correct. So, but two things that I really think is a highlight which came out for me, which strikes when I'm thinking about this topic is one, the percentage of bullying is already there, right? It's 13% is huge, already huge, right? So a school with 10,000 students, you're already talking about significant number of people doing it, right? And a class of 100 or 40, significant amount of people already doing that. And that's a big impact. Arav, you have a question, right? I understand you wanted to raise your hand. Please go ahead and ask Dr. Ang, what is your question, please?
How do I build that trust with my parents, like to let them know that I'm not doing anything wrong and like they don't interfere in my stuff?
That's a good question, Arav. I think many children would want that.
So Dr. Ang, you asked him to build trust, right? And you said it's both ways, as a parent as well. But his question is, how does he build that trust in himself and in his community, let's say a teenage community, so that his friends on a lighter side, I can tell you it's very difficult to achieve because parents is FBI, literally. They would want to know. So how does he do that?
Thanks for the question, Arav. I know it's very hard to please a parent sometimes, but I'll suggest that start small. It doesn't have to be online. You build the trust by doing simple things around your life as well. Build that trust from the very start, like by making good choices. Like let's say if you say that I'm going to be back home at 5, don't come home at 7 or 8. That would raise some red flags, right? If you do it too much, the parents are wondering what kind of things you're up to. Parents have the tendency, that knack to think of bad things happening. They always expect bad things to happen. So if you don't give them sufficient information, or you don't do what you said you're going to do, you'll expect that you're into trouble. You're then getting into something nasty. So I think start by making good choices in your daily life. Keep them up to date about your whereabouts, be on time. If you promise to do your housework, do it, simple things like that. Then your parents will then conclude that, I can trust Araf because he'll do what he's supposed to do. You know, maybe with a little reminders here and prompts here and there, he get things done. I can trust him, you know, to make good choices, even if it's in cyberspace. Yeah, so start with something small, and you can start from day one, from right now, onwards, to build that trust with the adult caregivers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Out of you understood that the most important part is building trust is by building small blocks both ways, right? If you ask your dad today to do something for you, if he does not do it, you may probably not feel bad about it the first time, but if it consistently happens over a period of time, you would not trust him to deliver that for you, right? Yeah. So one of the things that we should be careful about is building trust is mutual, between respect is mutual. You give respect, you get respect, you build trust, you have to be both ways. Parents can't be one way and expecting the other way not to be. I think, Kumudi, if you're here, I want to ask you one very specific question. And you know, but I'm not sure if she's there or not, but I'll still pose the question and then probably jump around to ask everyone else as well. That what would be a top 3 activity between parent and a kid, so that they build that home environment which is needed today, which is missing. So, you know, as a parent, we talk about addictions, the devices are here, they will exist, we will coexist, we'll figure out a way. But as a parent, as a home owner or a home, you know, community, what are the top 3 things we must do in a period of time to make it a much better positive environment? Kumudi, you're there? If you're there, then
Yeah. I'm there. Just a second.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, we can see you. So, top 3 things that you think you would say, as one of the parents asked me, that we should do in house so that we have better positivity in the house, better relationships and everything. So, top 3 things, please, from you.
Should I answer?
Yes, yeah, it is for you. The question is
okay. First thing, engage in the house, engage in more outdoor as well as indoor activities. Outdoor, obviously, games, and indoor also. See, if the kid is small, you can play snakes and ladders, Ludo, little bit chess, carom board, Scrabble. See, we play Scrabble. Earlier we used to use dictionary. These days kids, they don't know how to see dictionary. They just use mobile phone and see the meaning of the word on Google. So I want that. This is one way, by engaging them in more and more.
One way is engaging them more in activities at home and outside. What would be the second one?
Second one is whatever you do, just spend 1 hour or 2 hours of quality time together, the family members. Whether it's watching a serial, news, TV, anything, they should do it together. Watching a comedy movie also, not on day-to-day basis, once in a while, maybe on weekends or this and that, they should do it. And third thing, I would say that parents should sit, suppose somebody is, suppose we are talking to our in-laws or something, always involve kids. See, these are this thing, you should also wish them, talk to them. Suppose you're in a good mood, or sometimes you're in a bad mood, the kids should know, they should talk with each other. What is the problem? See, always don't show the positive side to the kids and show them the rosy picture, as well as don't show them the negative sides. Always let them see. I would say, no, one thing I say, we are their friends, but end of the day, we are their parents, not friends. So kids should be friendly to us, but there should be a little thin margin, whatever you can say, they should not start taking liberty from you.
Absolutely right.
When you say, come and talk to us, no, we are getting bored, this is a very rude answer. They said we are more interested in talking. So sometimes when you say, no, getting bored, they should come and sit, talk to us. When they will not talk, they will not come to know the plus and minuses of what parents are feeling, what grandparents are feeling, what is family time, who are their cousins, who are their uncles, aunts, everything. So they should know about them. So they should get involved in the family matters. Yes.
So to
not always be selfish.
Correct. So I'm going to highlight again. Correct. Yes. I'm going to highlight again. The first thing is, please do some activity together. Play, scramble, dictionary. I'm sure Arav never seen it in his life, right, Arav? If you're here, I can't see you at the moment, but I'm sure dictionaries, these students have the Google. which they call it the New World Dictionary, right? It gives you answer beyond dictionaries. The other part is, please take out some quality time together. Do
Yes,
whatever you
common
can.
interest, common
Common
time.
interest, but either your interest, his interest, but it should be working together.
Yes.
The third part is where you are able to involve the larger community into a family. So
And
show them their
moreover,
social.
you can express, the parents can also express their feelings, and kids can also express what
Also
happened in
express.
full day, what happened, what their routine is there, and what were their plus points, minus points, and can sum up the full day's routine, whether it is in half an hour or 1 hour. Everybody
You should have that communication. You should have the
Yes.
conversation.
What
Ma'am, I'm going to
happened,
come to you, Revati ma'am. Thank you, Kumudi ma'am. Revati ma'am, I'm going to come to you and I ask a very specific questions. The guidelines, okay, in some way has to come from an authority. It's the way the world sees it, right? Would you have a policy, a device parent basic policy, and are you open to it so that we could launch something like this, in parents' awareness, that please go through this session of basic cyber wellness, and so that everybody's on the same page, right? The kids are on the same page, the parents are on the same page, and the school community is also on the same page. Would you recommend something like this, or are you already doing it? I probably want to answer that question.
So actually, this is a very good, thought that we want to create that kind of, cyber wellness and cyber awareness amongst parents, amongst students, amongst teachers, so that, we are all in consensus with what we are doing, what the children are doing, right? What happens is, the crux of this is everyone starts trusting each other. The child has a problem, he comes to the teacher or to the parents likewise, are meeting with the students, so that way we all know that, if the child has a problem or he's, excessively using, getting addicted, whatever it is, together we can solve the issue, right? So now what is happening is, either the school is blaming the parent is blaming the school, the children are not aware, what is right, what is wrong. So we have to, in fact, there is this thought which has come to my mind. I should have cyber clubs in the school. These cyber clubs where children are, educating other children. A network is formed where we are teaching them the good practices. Because it is inevitable that we cannot just be without technology in the long run. We are going.
I agree. I agree.
We are going to be pulled into it. Like if I see from Arav's point of view, if he's not going to use technology, he's going to feel left behind. But what is the right way to use it?
I think cyber policies should be driven through the schools itself, because parents lack the knowledge to bring it in. Because themselves, if the school comes up with a policy and stuff, which Dr. Ang had shared, I will probably see how we can resource
how
that.
we have school rules for everything.
Correct.
So I think it should go like even the cyber rules should go like the do's and don'ts and everything.
Absolutely agree. So I'm going to probably bring that up with Dr. Ang. I know, Dr. Ang, you're starved for time today. You have to leave in like another 5-7 minutes, right? Here's a question that, okay, we know there's a very good question came in from Ms. Pooja in Mumbai. She's asking us that, okay, I know there's addiction to me. Okay, I'm an addict on, let's say, of the devices, or my kid is an addict. What is the way to solve it? Okay, what's the treatment? Let's say she's already got it, or how do I get out of how do I get out of addiction of? Like we know there is smoking, you get nicotine to patch to wear. There are people who have researched. But how do you get out of an addiction of a cyber or a device? What is the process to follow?
Right. Thanks, CK, for the question. Thanks for the audience who posed that question as well. Let me know if my speech is clear. Now, if you're a young person struggling with cyber addiction, don't be ashamed in getting help. Okay, right? I know stigma can be so real and huge, but it's very hard to do it by yourself. You know about drug addicts; they try to go through it themselves. It's very tough. They suffer from physical symptoms, and likewise for a cyber addict, you can suffer from anxiety because you don't have access to the handphone or internet. Restlessness, you feel unwell, you can be irritable, you're easily angry. So very often you're very aware of that yourself, right? Yeah, and you don't like that new aspect of yourself. So I think reach out for help. You can talk to a school counselor who may have some experience in helping kids with cyber addiction. He or she may use general counseling, cognitive behavioral therapy to help you process it. I think it's also important to rope in your parents as well, so they can help you go through this journey together. All right, don't do it alone. Very often you fail when you try to do it alone. Let other people journey it through with you. All right, because they can be a helpful resource. They can give you moral and spiritual support, and they can also monitor how you're progressing. And if you're not progressing well, they can contact the experts in addictions, right, to help you, right? So this is what I have to say. Just don't keep it to yourself. Reach out. There's also a lot of online resources you can go on to check where is the nearest one near you and all that. So you can also access that as well, and talk to a mental health professional if you have to. We can give some medications in case, let's say you have depression or you have anxiety. We can give you a course of medication to help you through that difficult period. But what's important is that let's do it together. It's difficult suffering through it by yourself, or try to overcome it by yourself. You need the right support and right resources and right information. Right. That's what I have to say. And before I forget and before I go, I just also want to share a tip with families is that you can declare a day in a week to have no handphone, or no internet, right? Okay, so you can have a no handphone games day for one day, right? Yeah. So you can infuse that from the very start, and the teenager will get used to it. Yeah, of course, if you do it too late in their years, and you may protest and all that. But if you start from when the child is young, they get used to that idea, and they'll know automatically that one day a week they just don't have access to the handphone games, so they will divert their attention to outdoor games or outdoor activities and all that. So remember, we need to put ourselves in each other's shoes. What does Araf have to think if he doesn't have his access to handphone? He can't keep up with his friends, right? And what do the parents think if they're worried about Araf engaging in activities online that may hurt him eventually? So I think we need to also see points from each other's position and have that mutual understanding. Agree on mutual rules that you can use, the rules that are reasonable, rules that work, all right, rules that help. Remember, rules are there to protect us, keep us safe, all right? If you have a fence to block off it's to keep the sheep unharmed by the tigers or the wolves out there, right? That's why you have the boundary, the parameters. So rules are like that. It's to keep us safe, and it shouldn't be it shouldn't bring about conflicts at home and have the mistrust and all that. So with that, I stop, and maybe I'll check with CK whether there's any other questions that I could help you with. Thanks.
So here's something to the audience. Okay, I know thousands of questions. Okay, but please put in your email address at the end of your question so that we can reply to all of your questions. Well, questions are massive. And we have just left a few minutes on the call now, but here's what I'm going to do. Okay, we're going to obviously respond to most of the questions, but here's the flow that I want to bring into summarizing what we've achieved today. Okay? What we've achieved is, first of all, and Dr. just another few minutes of yours, okay, because I want your data points to help us understand this. So first thing is addiction does exist, okay, but we use it very casually, right? So we've got to stop using it casually unless it's an addiction. Okay, so that it does exist. Bullying does exist. It is 13% plus growing, so it exists. It has its harmful impact. It has those situations where it leads to people having self-harm or anything else would happen. The third piece is that control and management and the policy needs to come across. Awareness is missing completely. So parents are left in silos, schools are working in their silos, students are working their own silos to control, manage, believe the trust, build that trust, and across all these stuff. So we've got to come up with a more of a cyber policy or a device policy or a family policy, which allows not just what Dr. Ang said, that okay, no device day in one day, to see how you behave if you don't do something for a day. What Kumudi elsewhere said, like addiction is if you can stay away from it for 5 days and stuff like that. You can. So building that policy, small bits, building that trust in each other. There are huge amount of tools available to monitor each other, but don't just use it as a CBI and FBI. Use it as a parent, as a friend, to say, here, I'm building this fence around you to protect you, not to let you be exposed to something that you should not be, and then it will hurt you eventually, now or in future or whatever it is. So we got to protect our kids because they are yet to learn their own ways. So that's the third and fourth thing that I have seen. Now, as kind of a wrapper, I would want all of you to just say one statement that you think would is good for our audience, for yourself. What do you think about this, and how we should proceed? So I'll start with Revati ma'am, you on my left, on my screen, top screen. What do you have to say today about the session? What do you feel? Just very quick word, because we're already over time, right? Please.
I think as we have summed up all the points together, it is for the wellness of our children and the future generation. So I think parents, educators, the society as a whole has to handhold these children and tell them that, you're going the right direction and we are there with you.
Perfect. Kumudi ma'am, what's your word on it?
As we have discussed, addiction of this, everybody is addicted to something, whether it's tea, coffee, cyber, we just to accept it and just solve the problem. Don't judge people, nothing will happen in one day. If you think just miracles are going to happen from parent side, teacher sides, or school side, or kids side, nothing. Don't expect miracles to happen. We are human beings. Just give space and time. And then yes, communication is a very important factor. Parents should keep on communicating communication with their kids. Whether they get a positive or negative response doesn't make any difference. Don't give up. Just keep on communicating and be always remain positive, smiling. The kid should know whether he's doing wrong or right. He can come up to his parents and are of one point that how to show trust by your conduct. If your conduct is good, parents will automatically, if any kid conduct, parents will automatically trust you. Give them also time, and parents should also give time to their kids. Everything, nothing is serious in life. Everything has got a solution.
Thank you so much,
chill and remain happy, and everything will happen.
Remain happy, positive, keep communicating. Arav, what's your take on it? What's your take on the event today?
I just think that like addiction is a very big term, and like we should not call everything addiction. Like if we're like on the phone for 1 hour, it's not addiction. Like
absolutely agreed, Arav.
It's not addiction, but you cannot do without phone. Then it is an addiction.
Yeah, that I agree with.
So whatever is addiction, if you cannot do without it, somebody takes away your phone for 4 days or 5 days, and you say no, I cannot stay without it. Then it is an addiction. Otherwise, nothing is an addiction.
Perfectly fine. So now, Sapna, you're right on time to summarize. What do you think about it? What we had discussion? What's your takeaway? And how do you want to what do you want to say to everyone listening to you today? Thanks. Now you there? I think internet. So Dr. Ang, I will come back to you and your summary of the events today. What do you think? You've heard everyone, right? You've spoken to a parent today, a person from outside, influencer, sports enthusiast, and a parent, and me as well, right? From a technology company that we've enabled these things to happen. What's your takeaway?
Yes, I'm so
think we're good. Go ahead, Dr.
So
go ahead.
so I'm so happy. I'm so happy to hear that everyone is so passionate about this topic. We are all, fundamentally want the same thing. We want everyone to be safe, to use technology in a safe manner and also in a responsible manner. But when you're in trouble or you have some difficulties, please reach out to the people around you, and let adult caregivers, educators, school journey that with you. All right, you don't have to do it alone. If you have difficulties in regulating your use of internet or gaming, or if you're a victim of cyberbullying whatsoever, just talk about it. And the more you talk about it, the more you are going to feel okay. You're going to feel better as well. Okay, so that's my message. Okay, reach out, talk about it, and journey together. And you can be a master of internet and gaming, and not the other way around. Okay, thank you so much.
Perfect, Dr. Ang. And Sapna, you're back again. Are you still here? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Good. So can you put your words, please, to us?
Yeah. So actually, as a parent, the session was very interesting for me, and there were a lot of questions which I which I got the answers for. One thing that I really think I get from this webinar is the most important thing is trust, right? So I think best thing that I could get from here is trust your child. That's the only thing that we can do.
I think thank you so much, Sapna, Revati ma'am, all the ladies, Kumudi ma'am, all of you. Arav, it's a session for your universe, okay, and our universe. Remember this, okay? As a parent, as you yourself, it's a world of having conversation. We would always bring us such topics to collaborate with all of you. And Dr. Ang, I can't thank you enough. Taking out time so early in the morning. I know you're on a different time zone altogether. This would be your sleep hour in Singapore probably now, but you've been really, really helpful to us. And this, I think we can go on for hours talking about it. All of us love to share our views and share it, but everyone who has posted questions, we request please to put in your email ID so that we can respond. We've tried to summarize most of the questions under umbrellas of what we are. As Learnix, what we are doing now is we run a curriculum around cyber wellness, and we educate teachers and the community all together, starting from this teachers community, to go to each school, make that cyber wellness be a part of the teachers curriculum, and then finally reach out to parents and students, everyone, to understand what is good, what's bad, what's do's and don'ts for everything is important. Everything in life has to have certain limitations and boundaries. So thank you all for joining the webinar today. It's a good, massive turnout. I'm so honored to be part of this panel as well. And William, you can summarize and close the event then. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Chandrakant.
Thanks a lot for all the insightful comments and inputs. So Manoj, can you go back to the slide where it says about Telegram? So what we would encourage everyone here, every attendee here to do is click the join now button below this webinar here. I can see that there's already hundreds of you who have joined our Telegram group. So do join our official Telegram channel, because we'll be sharing a lot of upcoming events, a lot of insightful contents, and upcoming updates about LearnX, about the current trending topics and so on as well. So if you don't wish to miss out anything, we would highly encourage you to join the Telegram channel. Everything there will be exclusively available just for our members only. Can you move to the next slide, please, Manoj? So with regards to the certificate here, I can see there's a couple of you who have asked in the chat. So do note that a 80% attendance is required for the certification. If just in case you have missed any of the session, in order to achieve that 80% attendance, you will be able to watch the replay, which will be shared via email right after the session later. And the attendance of yours will be recorded automatically by the system itself. So if you watch it within our system, it will automatically capture. and so the certificates will be shared with will be sent to the participants, eligible participants via email. And do note that no registration or no whatsoever process or action is required for you to obtain the certificate. The best part is this certificate here is actually eligible for CPD hours claiming. So this is very important. Next up, please, Manoj. So lastly, we have an upcoming webinar here around early of December. So do stay tuned for updates. And with this, I would like to end our session here. Thanks again for all the.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, William, for hosting us. And
yeah,
Dr. Ang, you have a brilliant day and see you in Singapore soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you. All the best.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye.